1, 2, 3, 5, or 10? How many times a week should you have sex with your husband? You know, studies show that married couples have sex at least 1 or 2 times per week. But what works for you? How many times should you really have sex per week? I'm Tiffany Godfrey, and this is Wife Coach TV. In today's video, we're going to talk about why sex is so important to your marriage. We're going to talk about what happens when you don't have sex with your husband, and how many times should you have sex, and then how do you meet that goal? So let me ask you this. Why is sex so important? Well, sex does 3 things. It allows you to reproduce. It allows you to establish a deeper intimacy with your husband. And it just feels good. And if you want to get some biblical tips on those 3 items, go ahead and click my video right there, and you'll be able to learn biblically why you need to have sex. So what happens when you don't have sex? A sexless marriage. Have you ever been there? It's basically when you're not doing it. So what does it do? It causes a disconnection in the marriage. And by the way, it makes your husband grumpy. I'm just telling you. Have you ever had a grumpy husband? And that's probably why, because he's not getting any. And here's the thing. Sex to your husband tells him how much you love him. So when you keep withholding, you're saying, I don't love you. And you know, it's funny, a few weeks ago, my husband said that. When you have sex with me, it tells me you love me. I mean, he actually said that. And more than likely, if you gave your husband a questionnaire, that would probably be at the top of his list. And he would probably say, your willingness or unwillingness tells him why or whether or not you love him. It opens the door to temptation, okay? A lot of times, women are, crying and upset because their husband cheated. I'm not saying that it's right. But sometimes the reason why that door opens, the reason why he walks through that door is because you ain't giving it up. Now, I'm not saying that's a reason to do it. You should do it because you want to. But that does open the door, not only for him, but for you too. Think about it. It keeps you high and dry. Don't you need sex? And then my question would be to you, why don't you want to have sex? Now, if you are in that place and you don't want to have sex, I would encourage you, there is a link to a 2-part series, Why Christian Wives Don't Want to Have Sex with Their Husbands. And you may be able to identify with that if you are not having sex with your husband. Because I'm telling you, girl, sex is good. Did you know sex is good? All right, well, let's talk. Now, another thing is, here's the $1 million question. How many times per week should you have sex with your husband? Well, to be honest, it really depends on you and your husband. Have you thought about it? How many times do you want to have sex? Have you asked your husband how many times he wants to have sex? Have you come to a fair compromise? Most of the time, in most cases, men want it more than women. Let's just be honest. However, y'all need to come to some kind of understanding, and not only come to an understanding and compromise, but make it happen, okay? Now, if you haven't talked to your husband about sex, how will you know what his goals are? How will you know what your goals are? So communication is big. That's one of the biggest things that I push on Wife Coach TV, communicating with your husband, not just about sex, but anything. That will help you to get to know your spouse better. That will clear some things up. And so you need to talk about that. So, and the question would be for each of you, what makes you feel loved? I guarantee you he's probably going to say sex, so that's going to be at the top of his list. And then the question is, what makes you feel loved? Here's the thing. It's not about manipulation, but if you want something from your husband, sometimes you got to give some things. You see what I'm saying? If you want him to hold you, sometimes you got to, do some things. But the bottom line is you should be having sex. If you're not, you're in danger of a lot of things, because a sexless marriage brings destruction. But if you are serious about it, go ahead, do some talking, get some information, find out more what his goals are and what your goals are, so that you can come to a compromise on when and how much you have sex, and even how you have sex. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click the subscribe button and click like, because I need to get some more information to you, girl. I want to help you get out of having a sexless marriage. Have a great day. And by the way, if you have sex, it can make your marriage better, but if you talk about it and know what you want, it'll make it even greater.